Welcome to the first episode in the inaugural campaign for Tabletop Dynasties. Tonight we are exploring Dungeons & Dragons' Forgotten Realms, in particular the Sword Coast. The Sword Coast is held together by a conglomerate of powerful nobles who call themselves the Lord's Alliance. Individual members of the Alliance rule over vast city-states throughout the Sword Coast and use the land and its wealth to raise armed forces with which to defend themselves and their interests. In spite of its strength, the Lord's Alliance exists in a tenuous balance, with threatening forces from without and within vying to tear it apart and break down the very foundations of the society they have built. North of the Sword Coast, in the spine of the World Mountains, there exists a large orc clan known as the Many Arrow Orcs. For years they have fought and bargained with other tribes and clan heads to unify the orcs of the north into a single functioning civilization in which orcs can flourish and expand their reach. The fruits of their toils have brought agriculture and trade, but as they look to the south, the orcs live in fear of human forces mustering on the border. This xenophobia is shared by the predominantly human cities to the south, and a cycle of hatred has begun. As the Lord's Alliance steadily moves its influence to the north, so too do the Many Arrow Orcs look to greener pastures of the south. Disputes flared up, and settlements on both sides were raided. The sabers were rattled, and a line in the sand was drawn. The Battle of Iron Pass was at hand. Tonight we follow the story of a handful of characters caught in the tumult of war and bound by destiny. As this is our first episode, please forgive the minor technical hiccups and enjoy the story. We look forward to sharing many more like it. In the foothills of the spine of the World Mountains, just between them and a broad riverbank, a grand army of the Lord's Alliance is assembled. Company upon company upon company, drawn together under the leadership of prominent lords. The effort of months of rallying of forces from all up and down the Sword Coast and every nearby neighbor, dwarves, elves, magical creatures, everyone is there. Spirits are high, trumpets are singing their songs to the heavens, and many a pike raised up to the sky, the flags and placards proclaiming the valiant names of all of the people that the soldiers serve for everybody to read. It is a glorious day. They are there and prepared to meet any evil. They have chosen this spot particularly and figured they could lure the cunning or the stupid orcs here away from their natural habitat in the foothills and the mountains and on the open plain. For what would such savages know of real warfare? And so it was that all the troops were committed on this day. You're with your various companies, those with the 3rd Daggerford Regulars, which is Pete, Bernard, Whitcomb, and Rebecca, Saria, Lucine. You're standing with your unit. You're normally on scouting detail, sometimes on sabotage, but on this day, you're organized into a fighting force, a flanking fighting force. You're on the far outskirts, and if anything comes up, any mobile units, that's who you were with, and that's who you will fight with. You've obviously been sent out ahead to make sure that...
Wait, I'm the bumbling cook. They're putting me on missions? This is...
No, you are a small halfling. Yeah, of course they are. Everyone must do their job here. You are a small halfling, easily overlooked. You can hide in tall grasses. You're there with...
You're useful.
Yeah.
And very helpful.
Helpful, not
Yeah.
useful. There's the opposite thing.
Well,
Helpful,
to me
useful,
it's the same thing.
Absolutely. You're there with a squadron of 4 other halflings. They all have either slings or short bows, mostly just token things, so that they can run back to the unit and tell them what's going on, keeping an eye out in the rough terrain. That's what they're supposed to do.
Okay.
Of course, you're being backed up by the rest of that force. Rebecca, you're standing with the bulk of the force, just second or third rank in as a frontline healer, essentially. So you are a skirmish company. You're not going to go hard impact. You'll harass on the outskirts, but you're still there nonetheless. You've been running drills for the last week or so with this group and just getting your endurance up, running legs on. Augustus, you sit on a hill overlooking the battlefield. From here you can see the vanguard of the orc force starting to move through the mountains, move through the foothills. And from your vantage point, you can see there are quite a lot of them. And maybe this is all there are. If so, then the battle will be very one-sided. But you have a suspicion if they're coming to meet this force on this battlefield, it might not be the case. Regardless, you're there for your own purposes.
It'll probably be over quickly. Not too many dead. People will click onto this pretty quickly, I reckon.
Meanwhile, in Lord Harrod's company, Lord Harrod, a stately old man with his shining magical armor, rides back and forth on his gleaming stallion, addressing his troops. Today, we will show them what has come to bear. The orcs can only push us so far, says Lord Harrod, as he struts around. We have a long and illustrious history of warfare, my good men, he says to the many peasants and young men and women standing there who have never seen a day of combat in their life. But, you know, in light of this speech, they're feeling pretty good about themselves. If this old man can be up there on that charger and willing to lead the fight, then, you know, they're all pretty happy about it. And, you know, they have you. And some of them have learned to trust in you over the last few weeks because they've had various lessons in how to use a weapon from you, and they see that you know what you're doing and look to you for leadership. Young Lucy in particular is taken to a strong shine to you.
Is she shiny? Like her skin? Is it a bit shiny?
No, she just likes you a bunch. She's admitted late one night that she wishes she was like you and had the strength and confidence that you do. 15?
She bi?
Do you want to push your status?
Remember, you're not.
She looks up to you
That's
as
probably
a
the better
teacher.
question.
You're somewhere between 15 and 17.
Okay, not just yet, after the battle maybe.
Also, you're not playing a bard.
I'm incredibly good looking.
That's
Yes.
Just saying.
Are you aware of how good looking this person is?
Even from up
Not
here, I'm
even
like,
from
oh, that one. Wow.
Like person. They're not even elf. They just radiate.
Like,
Um,
literally glow. Like,
But nonetheless, you're standing there. Everyone else is holding pikes, but because of your skills, you've been allowed to just run with whatever weapon you want and take control of a small unit of 4 or 5. Meanwhile, in the 13th Free Company of the Spear Silvermore, you stand there among your peers. Again, you've shown yourself to be competent with a weapon. People look to you for guidance in certain situations. You have no rank above anyone else in the party or anyone else in the company, but your immediate peers, your friends at the campfire, who you've come to know and trust enough, they look to you for guidance in this situation. Everyone's a little bit nervous, but at the same time, Brigadier Marshal Hayes, head of the 13th Free Company, is telling them, Life is hard! Battles suck! You're all probably gonna die or get injured for life, like me! Holding up his stump of an arm. But you'll learn to love it, and these orcs are spineless! Orcs are nothing but a bunch of spineless wimps, undignified, ununified savages! Just hide behind the length of a long pike and make sure somebody with a longer pike is behind you, and you'll skewer them up! It'll be shish kebab orcs for everyone for days! The clamor of the battlefield is left somewhat in the distance as Lynn Altwood makes their way towards Maribar, a place where you seek safety, away from ravaging hordes of orcs, away from marauding mercenaries who claim to be doing good. Already, as you make your way through every town through which the army has been, you find it has been ransacked of supplies, young men, young women taken to fight at the front. No one is happy to see a soldier. For you, they're happy. They say, get to the city. We have very little that we can offer you here. We're really sorry. They see you as, they're happy to hear your stories. What they can give you is very little, and to hear what you have to say about the army that you've seen, about the orcs on the front. As a storyteller, as a raconteur, you're always welcome in these villages. But the fare is meager. Very, very meager, for everything has been taken by the Lord's Alliance armies. People still talk with pride, however, about their children who are valiantly going off to fight. They're very happy that this is happening because they've heard the tales that you've told about the other villages that have been ransacked and destroyed by orcs. And they know that their children are going away for a good cause, so that they may live safely. However, the morning of battle is upon you. And as you stand there ranked up, you see the orcs come, the beating of the drums, the sound of the marching feet. Through the foothills they wind in long, thin lines. The disorganized rabble that the head of your company told you about, making their way out. And for everything he told you about them maiming and destroying you, you feel that they are disorganized, as he said. And perhaps the organization is to your advantage. You see them coming out in their lines, awkward, gangly, true orcs, not like the orcs that you've seen before, just filtering through the towns, upright, humanoid-looking orcs. These are true, muscular, strong, healthy orcs. They are well equipped, and while they don't seem very well organized, they have a kind of synergy. The orders sing out from the armies, all the various criers running from the regiment heads to the various companies, telling them to line up, rank up along the river. Backing up, get them as they come out of the foothills. Various rumors fly through the ranks. Will we do an early charge? Will we get them while they can? Will we get them while they're still disorganized before they form up into a larger mass? But apparently you're waiting. The signal has not been given. The horns have not yet sounded. So you wait. The orcs come closer and closer. A line comes forward. They stop. They brace with bows. They start firing. The archers get called out from your company, start firing back. A few people fall here and there around you, but it's nothing that you wouldn't expect. Shields go up, the clatter of arrows on the shields, and it all sort of starts just back and forth, toing and froing. The call for a steady advance goes across. Let's trap them in the hills and fight them in the narrow alleys as they start to wind out. And from the riverbank, the whole force, a grand, glistening army of humans, dwarves, elves, halflings, the good races of the world, moving forwards steadily, arm in arm, step by step, glistening spears and pikes drawn to bear. And so the orcs move further and further back into the foothills. An advance is called. Orcs, beating of the drums. A line of maybe 500 orcs rush at you. We can take them! The cry goes out. And a countercharge is issued. Cavalry rush around to the flanks. Your units, the 13th Agford Regulars, moves into support, trailing behind them.
Oh dear,
The
can I, is there any
cavalry come
chance
into
I
the
can
flank, come
save
into the
my
flank.
halflings?
Well, you fall back to meet the rest of the group, and now the Daggerford regulars are moving as a group. You didn't get much farther, you're standing on one of the rear foothills, you just blended into the environment, kind of watching as this is starting to take place. And
I'm already starting to get a not good feeling about war.
and suddenly the 10,000 strong army of allied forces clash with the 500 or so orcs that are
Can I make
currently
a? I
lined
know
up.
orcs. Can I make an insight check? Because this is like these guys. We're on the losing side here, I reckon. Well, having seen both sides.
Well, you can say
Okay.
that to Rebecca. You've come back to the company.
Yeah, I would actually like to push some information forwards. Like, the whole operation here seems to be predicated on orcs being stupid and idiots.
I think we trust. I think we go with this. I
The
think we'll be
armies
fine.
clash. The sound of body against body, shield against shield, outflanking cavalry units careening into the orcs. The line is penetrated, and while they hold up for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, it crumbles, and the remaining orcs flee, turning tail into the mountain, turning tail into the foothills. The cry of
Another route.
victory goes up. Hold is called across the lines, but high on the euphoria of first blood and sudden defeat, young nobles on horseback, the champions leading the blocks of infantry give chase and funnel into the foothills, cutting the orcs down, apparently completely helpless as they move forwards. You're at the edge of the foothills, trailing up behind the cavalry. They're moving in, and you decide, you've had this conversation, you decide to, Aaron Blackmane turns to you.
What you call?
Aaron Blackmane turns to you and says, Halflings, to the top of the hill, we need eyes on this situation, I don't trust it. You, with us.
Yes.
And so you separate. You guys move forward with the rest of the company, still maintaining eyesight. You guys get to the top of the hill. At the top of the hill, you turn around and catch the same sight that Gus does, which is a force of orcs moving from the river itself, possibly 1,000. At the same time, as you see 3 winding forces of orcs coming out and crunch into the cavalry that charged in through the flank and followed them into the mountains. Cries of disorder and chaos fill the air. You're at the top of the hill.
Yes, I want to get a message down somehow. I mean,
Yep.
I've got intel now that is like crucial.
Where do you want to get
worst-
the message to? You're standing there and you're seeing pockets. They're just popping out everywhere. Apparently systems of caves have been dug into these hills, and now there are enemies coming from everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
The bulk of the force is coming from the river behind.
Yeah.
Everything is in disarray. Where do you go?
My concern is the Daggerford irregulars, not the broader campaign.
Okay,
The humans, the elves, they're hubris, they're fucked.
so you speed down the hill towards the Daggerford Irregulars.
I want to get close enough to her to keep her out of trouble and get the information
As you're
cascading
running
through.
down the hill, you hear the cries of your friend, Jerry.
Not Jerry!
Ball, arrows, thick, black-stemmed orcish arrows sticking rough-hewn feathers from their backs. They tumble down the hill, smashing their head
That's
on a
not
rock.
lucky at all!
Spatter.
And they were halflings too!
Arrows whistle by, and you look behind, and you see boulders and brush has been tossed aside, and a small group of maybe 40 orcs who just popped out behind you and are now careening down the hill behind you in the direction of the Daggerford Irregulars. You start running away from them.
I run towards my friends and away from the orcs, looking over my shoulder periodically, and wow, have I got a spell that can help me in this situation? Not exactly. So I run.
Sure. Do you make a cry?
No. And it's like no, that's a signal for the orcs to basically shoot me in the back.
So you're running along, and you're getting into your troops, and suddenly you get to the wall of troops, and there's a melee between a group of orcs who's coming from one side, and even the Daggerford regulars are fighting now against a small group, but nonetheless a group. You're doing okay, but you're fighting hard. Cut down 1-2 orcs with the help of your friends, but you look behind and you hear a shrill scream from one of the halflings that have run up the hill.
I'll be using telepathy to talk to her as soon as she's in range.
And you look behind, and she's the first person who notices you. So, Bernard, look down, and you see Saya look up, your eyes lock, he screams, and then you hear a voice in your head, and it says,
Save the others and not die.
I
Or
grab
not.
Erin by the shoulder and I wrench her and I yell at her. We have to retreat.
right? What? Let go of me. You want to get the halflings? Great. I've got to think of everybody else in this unit.
Something is wrong. There are more of them. We have to pull back now.
Yes, I'm trying.
All right.
Get the halfling if you must, but rendezvous with me to the south.
All right. I run full pelt towards Bernard, and I just do slashing orcs, some guiding bolt.
All right, so you're running along, and then suddenly, crash! Just the giant boulder lands right next to you, just straight out of the sky. Boom! Earth scatters everywhere. The impact of the rock hitting the ground throws you. You feel a sharp stabbing pain in your side, and you black out. Jude. So, Nariko, you and the spears, lance forward. It was like a storybook ending, exactly as Harrod said. The orcs came and charged at you, and you lowered your pikes. They all ran right onto them. And which ones didn't ran screaming into the night. And filled with a jovial sense of victory and impending success, you all launched forwards, rushing after them. Before you knew it, the company was separated, split in two. A group of orcs just appeared out of nowhere and jumped in, and they just grabbed the pikes, pushed them aside, and then in 2 seconds the whole company became entangled in a maze of wood and spikes, impaling each other, impaling themselves on each other's ends, and then just being cut down by brutal bludgeoning and hefty cutting weapons of these orcs. Just in minutes, what was the proud Harrod's company was not much more than a shambles of troops. You and the ones who are closest to you, your peers, they're looking to you. You look around, all you can see and hear is chaos. The fighting, it's not just in front of you in the foothills to which you are running, it's behind you. What do you do?
I know, scout for a possible opening in the chaos that might be a straight path in a direction away from possible
Yep, up
further
that
enemies.
hill, you can probably get up through some rocks and perhaps get a vantage point.
Yep, sure. I'll tell my group of people. And what was the girl's name that took a shine to me?
Well, you obviously didn't like her very much.
It's the middle of battle, alright? Who has time for names?
You run up the hill.
Yeah.
A
Group of people.
Your group of people, group of 5, follow you out of there.
And tell her to stay close.
Yep, she does so. She's running up behind you and
If there are
beside you.
orcs in the immediate vicinity, I'll cast light on their nose
Okay. To distract them.
to distract them, and and just keep moving it on if anyone's looking closely or too dangerous and close to
Okay,
my group of people.
So you're getting to the top of a series of rocks, and you look down and you see Halfling. You've tripped. He's lying there on the ground. He's holding his skidded knee. He's looking up as a group of 10 brutal orcs are charging down upon him.
What's a child doing in battle?
Unfamiliar with this weird small race.
It's a
Overfed children with stomachs. Obesity is a problem.
It's a ploy by cowering. There's all the respect of the kill, and no one wants to claim it. You see, it's a technique, survival technique.
So he looks like was on the verge of
He's about to get
retreating
killed.
though. Yeah. All right. To the child.
Okay. The other people in the company are somewhat confused by your cries, but you are the person that took, and you are lying there, you're nursing your grazed knee, possibly the most severe injury you've had in a long time, and the orc's bearing down on you with a large cudgel, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
There's a light on his nose.
light appears on his nose. It's like,
And from a distance, I guess I can Eldritch Blast. Like, that's not. I don't have to get too close.
and then
to
a
do that.
blast of light energy hits one of the other orcs, just blasting him aside, and a group of people, about 5 or 6, uniformly equipped and armed people just rush in with sort of short swords and shields and start fighting against these orcs. You sort of reach down and you see the face of a physical description, please.
Him or me?
You.
My face.
What do you look like as you stand above him, offering him help?
Incredibly good looking. I guess I have like a luminescent face. It's just glowing just a little bit. Admittedly, I'm quite pale. Very pale. One might say like the moon. I do have a slight glow to my eyes as well. I have red eyes with red hair. It's reasonably long.
red eyes and red hair.
Yes.
Are they kind eyes or are they hard eyes?
They're young
They're actually
eyes.
old, cynical eyes, but in a reasonably young face.
I want you to say that again, please.
Old, cynical eyes in a reasonably young face.
And
Alright.
describe yourself. She reaches down to help you out.
Not too portly, not too handsome, not too remarkable halfling. I do have a little bit of a white streak through the hair, but I try to colour that out with tea. What can I say?
Do you smell like tea?
Just the hair, if you get in close,
Okay.
lady. I wasn't expecting
As
that.
you take her hand, she picks you up. You hear a whistle of arrows and the scream of, well, not even the scream, the sound of the woman, the young girl who just last night was pledging her undying admiration for you. The sound of her body thudding to the ground with 2
Well,
arrows sitting inside of her head. She bleeds out, her blank, unseeing eyes staring. So 1 or 2 last twitches as the rest of that orc group, the arrows, has turned, not paying you guys attention. Everyone's like, what do we do? What do we do? They're under
Retreat!
fire.
Retreat!
Where?
Down
Where?
the hill?
And they all follow you down the hill, back into the swirling
Wait, was there another
melee.
side of the hill? Like, it's a hill, right? So there's several
Where?
huts
Are
to
you
go
at the
down.
top of it, or-
No,
How far-
if she says down the hill, I go scream. We've got to get out of the. It's a bloodbath down there. We've got to go up.
Do you have a suggestion?
You guys
Child!
look back up, and you see there are still 5 orcs that your group weren't able to deal with, and then another 10 archers a bit further up the hill.
Up the hill.
Yeah, they're up there. So there was a group of like 30 orcs. They busted out of the cave. A bunch of them just chased you guys down. The others were just archers, popped up on the hill and just started laying waste to everything they could see.
Run zigzag lines, guys. Zigzag lines.
And you head down.
Yes,
You see
in a
there's there are
way.
more concentrations of troops. Perhaps you're looking for larger units.
Yes.
I was with eye contact with her when she got knocked
You
out,
look
right?
back and you cannot. Yeah. Then you tripped and fell, and you stand up and you can't see her anymore.
Can't see her anymore. We've got to go back for her. Like, I've got to go down and. Hang on. What class are you again? You're
I'm a cleric.
a cleric. Oh, yeah, okay, the cleric with the heal. We've got to get the heal.
Alright, so you take it. As you two leave, another couple of arrows fall into the backs of the rest of your company, and the last of Harod's company fall as you accompany the halfling in the direction of where he said his healing friend might be.
Is it possible for me to pick up the fireman's carry, another halfling that was in my group, or
They're
possibly
all the way back up the hill.
or the
You're all
girl who
running
died?
together.
It was the
Too big.
Can I
Two-
like at least
so she's
close her
like-
eyelids? Like at least if they were like twitching open, just like
You decide to make haste.
okay.
Slide the arrow
Do you have a
fire.
mage hand? Can you close her eyes? For me? I don't know
You have
who
no
you are.
time to give even the most basic respects
All right.
to the
To the
honor
orc.
roller.
It's not that thing. And if there's a shield, like a human-sized shield, I'm going to kind of turtle it and run through.
You guys run in and avoid a group of orcs narrowly and find your way. You are fighting spear in the middle of a group. You managed to just yell out and got your group to form around you in spite of the chaos.
Defensive formation.
Defensive formation.
Shields up.
Yep, a lot of them have either just cut their pikes in half or were equipped with short spears anyway, so they were able to reform in this tight fighting organization pretty well. And then you guys are bracing for the charge of a bunch of orcs that are coming from one direction, and then suddenly your lines are broken into by a halfling carrying a shield, trailed by a flaming-haired woman with a subtle radiant glow, wearing the unit markings of Lord Harrod's company. Everyone's sort of distracted, and it takes them aback just enough so that when the orcs impact, it decimates the front line of your unit.
That's not very helpful.
No, it was very useful for the orcs, though.
You helped someone.
But you guys careen into the force. What did you do?
So sorry. They've broken my formation and now in front of
Now
the
it's a
orcs, or
skirmish.
now it's a skirmish. Okay, well I'm gonna hunch up towards these guys and try and protect them from because they seem to be unarmed and the rest of my force know what they're doing.
Excuse me, I have weapons.
Well,
Besides
maybe
your
just the
smoldering
half-
eyes.
All I saw was you running through like
Don't
my
protect her,
formation.
protect the halfling with the shield.
Pretty much, yeah.
Why protect the halfling with the shield? He's obviously protected with the shield. So you step in front of the halfling.
Yeah, step in front of the
You
halfling.
sort of like stop it, and then suddenly an orc comes in to swing behind you, and you just step in, Eldritch Blast right in the face.
Excellent.
And suddenly you're realizing your company is dwindling one by one. They're looking to you for leadership, but the only people holding their own in this situation are the two of you fighting back to back. The company is shrinking. It's down to about 10 troops at this point.
I can't see our healer.
Not here, not here.
We're already
Gus.
cornered.
Gus has
Didn't
made a
take long.
terrible mistake.
You're standing on the hill, and you see below you a group of orcs have popped out, and they're just laughing and firing arrows at all of the people who don't know what they're doing. All of the units are isolated and broken up in the Lord's Alliance. They're going here, they're going there. The larger, you're standing there, and they're like, "Whoa," as you see one of the large creatures. One of the wizards seems to cast a spell and transforms into a huge hippogriff, radiant light glowing out of him. So it grabs two handfuls of orcs. Everybody sees this and takes to the sky, screeching, throwing them aside, and then parries and then twists in the air, surveying the battlefield, and then shoots back down to the ground, going in for another sweep attack.
He's just like, I imagine he's standing there, and at this point his staff sort of just drops out of his hand, and then the bag falls out of the other one, and he's just viewing the absolute carnage, and it's not yet sinking in. He's kind of like, picks it up again, goes to move down towards some
Suddenly, a huge worm raises its head from behind the mountain, previously unseen. Giant wings flap out either side of the forest creature, the most primitive descendants of dragons. It screams, and you see two giant chains being held onto by ogres, and they let go. It takes to the sky. It grabs the hippogriff. You're mesmerized by the sight of these two giant creatures entangling, claws, feather, and scales being torn asunder as they clash in midair, and you startled like a deer in the bright lights as they careen and fall, meteorically descending towards you.
Shit. I'm going to place myself not under the giant claw cannonball made of animal coming towards me. I'm going to try and expedite myself a little from this situation.
Run! You lose your shit, and you just run away from the thing that is threatening you most, and you stumble blindly backwards. You've dropped your bag, you've dropped your staff, your hat gets knocked from your head.
Not my lucky hat!
As a sword swishes above and just
Buddy.
barely misses, but instead of taking your head off, it clefts the face of the person behind you in half as a shower of teeth and viscera land across your chest and body. You're shell-shocked, stumbling blindly through the crowd. And you trip over, and you find yourself lying on a body that groans as you come back to consciousness.
Oh, all right, let's go.
Oh, wait, no.
Let's go.
I've got. I just smack a heel down.
You look at him and you look into his face and you instantly see the abject terror in his eyes, the look of a babe who has no idea what or where he is. You are covered in dirt. It seems like the melee has left you. You shove a couple of bodies that have just fallen off of you. You realize that there's a brief gap in the conflict, but still you can't see anywhere around you, in a place where there is no conflict. And then the whistling sounds come back again as another boulder starts heading in your direction. Flying through the sky.
I push you off me,
Oh.
and I grab you by like the shoulder, and I just bolt.
So she goes off, I go off, I grab Buddy, and we go off.
You slash through a couple of orcs, just back the fuck away! Thrusting your sword.
Yeah, my rapier.
Thrusting your rapier at them, then sort of back up and think twice. And
Do I see her up now? Because I've been looking for her.
Yeah, so
But
you're
from
like
between their
peering
legs,
out your
right?
legs,
looking
being
at-
circled at this point. Like,
Yeah.
We're back to
really-
back. You're
getting back to
somewhere
back.
between
You're hiding
us.
between them, and then suddenly you catch sight of a shock of black hair.
As soon as I see
Ponytail
her,
trailing
I'm going
in
to
the
telepathy talk to her and say, we're over here behind you on your 8 o'clock. Come and stand with us, basically.
Okay, so Bernard's sending you a message. You kind of cast your eye around, duck underneath a stray halberd shot.
Sorry.
You sort of look. You've got a large gash across your chest, and blood's coming out. And like, you can't feel it. You didn't feel it. You didn't feel it at all.
Someone's been hurt? I look around for the source of the blood.
But you catch sight of these guys. The wound looks worse than it is. It's
Alright.
just cut in flesh.
At this point, while I'm healing touch, whatever that is, and then like redirect us into that.
Okay, you're heading towards. You're realizing your situation is quicker and quicker,
Dire.
getting very dire.
This is not a good
and you
place
need
to
to
be.
find a direction out of here. You can see some troops like mustering sort of over in the direction, sort of their direction. And the halfling just runs out from between your legs and starts sprinting off towards you.
I say, we've got to meet up with these guys and then take out those archers. There's a group of archers on the hill.
It's not just this hill. Almost every hill in
Well,
this vicinity has a group of archers on
We're
it.
going to be
group
standing
of
on a
archers?
hill where archers used to be.
Okay.
And you rendezvous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the orcs start closing in. You're at a point right now in this valley, in this ditch, where you can't see a way out. You can't think a way out. You've all resolved. In some way, in your mind, you feel that this is the end. What do you think? What will you do? What will you do? Skip.
Oh, so are we all
You're
looking
trapped.
together at
Will
this
you fight
point,
to the
back to
death?
back?
Yeah, you're all together.
Yes,
in the middle,
I think that at
surrounded by
this point
enemies,
I'd probably
fighting
be
back.
clutching at my emblem.
Okay.
with my shield aloft.
Okay. Clutch at your young. You put your faith into Bahamut,
That's right.
and you hold your shield, and you swing your weapon, defending yourself as well,
That's right.
and you fight your best fight, praying for deliverance. And
I guess I'm whispering
you, Noriko?
to my relic, saying if you want to be, not lost on the bloody battlefield, you might want to give me some help here. Just saying.
At this point, okay, cool. A warm, radiant light starts ushering from your unknown friend, or you met this woman before, but she starts glowing. You see cracks of red energy travel down her skin around your body, and you actually black out momentarily as two large, ornate scimitars appear in her hands. She just starts hacking down. At this point, like, you guys are being sheltered half by you and your defensiveness, half by her and her field. But she's still getting cut. She's still getting, just doesn't seem to be feeling it. As she sort of cuts down orcs left, right. How do you feel?
This last stand is not the first. It's actually the second time I've been in this situation where I think we're all going to die. And so what I'm thinking is I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to say, but this time I have an option that I didn't before last time. Toll of the Dead, the hurting words. This time I'm going to speak the hurting words that I actually haven't cast yet.
Okay.
Right. And I'm going to try and go down fighting, and then when we're all dead, hopefully I don't have a wound, and the orcs will save me again, because I'm lucky. That just seems to be how it goes down. You guys are fucked. I'll probably be okay. But
you have faith in you hung out with these orcs before. How bad did it really go? How do you feel?
At this point, I clutch.
Shield and sword, clutching your hand.
Yeah, I clutch my element. No, actually, I've frozen a bit at the thought of actually losing. I've seemed to have lost my nerve. And I seem to be looking a lot to Bernard to.
Yeah. Well, you're looking at Bernard, and Bernard seems to be just sheltering himself. It looks like he's already making himself a little nest amongst the bodies.
No, I'm casting taller than whilst they do that. Angry pointing and whispering.
Yeah, see, he's still this little guy who's done no more than cook and keep you company and tell other people that everything's turned out for the best. He's doing his best and fighting that.
At this site, like at the side of my friend, I grab my sword and I just start throwing divine energy.
Wherever you go. Alright, radiant purple haze embraces the cleric. A blue light embraces you. Right now there are these 3 beacons of magical energy in a single area, and you're looking to them and you're realizing that these people are defending you. You're lying there, even the halfling stands on top of you as you lie distraught on the ground, surrounded by these 3 apparently powerfully confident people and one
cook.
Undaunted. And you stand there and you feel helpless, but what happens?
He reaches out and there's just like some kind of like stick on the ground.
Yeah.
And he just stands up
after the spear.
and he's just, why don't you all just stop hitting each other? And the stick just goes and he just starts beating things. It's basically just shillelagh, but it's now a very painful stick. It's not okay.
And spores start radiating and starts pouring out of your every orifice. And all of you you fight, you take wounds, you become exhausted. You feel that in spite of your best efforts, in spite of the prayers to your various gods, you are finally at your wits' end, and you will fall with absolute certainty until you hear the piercing cry of Aaron Blackmane and what remains of the 3rd Daggerford regulars as they cry, Save that damn halfling and my wayward cleric and get us the hell out of here! You pass out. At this point,
Elegantly
Nariko,
looking good.
Spear, you realize that you catch her, and in your buff armor, you see that as her eyes sort of like peter out and roll into the back of her head, and you get a flickering moment of consciousness with the vague memory of the radiant light behind Spear as you pass out for good, who carries you away. You've also pushed out and you're sort of coming to the end with your wounds, but you stand tall. The halflings are like, the bell tolls for you! He's not whispering anymore, he's yelling, but his voice is hoarse and disappearing, but still his spells are belting out. He's your inspiration, and then you hear Aaron break through this, and you look and you go, oh my God. And then you hear this sense of relief at the end of your fatigue, and then you see a black arrow arch through the sky and pierce his neck.
No.
Oh, he's just lying and gurgling. You scoop him up into your arms.
Yeah, and I, like, with any energy I have left, I just lay my hands on him and I just heal.
Are you a paladin?
No.
Okay, that's cool.
He says, gurgling, blood bubbles up in his mouth.
Not quite.
Like, fuck up, this hurts.
You are in a frenzy. You're losing it, Gus. You're like spores are, every time you open your mouth. Spores are coming out, and suddenly, like, you're looking around, and you just swear you're gonna die here, and that's just what's gonna happen. And you're gonna give yourself and every other corpse that you can take back to nature, like happened to you, like your would-be mentor did when you saw his corpse in the forest. And then suddenly, someone grabs you forcibly by the collar with both hands, shakes you, and slaps you in a gruff voice. The voice of Doran Thunder comes out and says, "Snap out of it, man! We've got to live!" And you sort of become weak and faint. All you can do is follow him in his lead, and likewise the rest of you, as you make a fighting escape with the 3rd Daggerford irregulars, what's left of them.
Who's carrying me?
I'm
I've been
carrying
shish
you.
kebabbed, right?
Yeah, I'm carrying you.
Two
Don't
people
worry.
can, one from other side of
One
the
on the
arrow.
other side.
Lynn. A fast rider going through a village. He doesn't stop in the village. But he cries. All is lost! The army is defeated! The orcs come to sack Maribar! Flee! Flee for your lives! And he continues riding.
I flee for my life.
And not in the direction of Maribar. You head south. Judging where the conflict was, and where that orc army would still be marching, you quickly fall in with a group of people. Are you already with a group of people?
Yeah, I imagine I have a group of people who are refugees from my village, which got ransacked by orcs.
And you decide to head south. It's not an easy journey. As you travel south, you find yourself beset upon either by roving bands of surviving mercenaries from the Lord's Alliance side who do what they will and take what they want. Occasionally, a gang of young orc warriors who decide to go in advance of the army wherever they please, come out and attacked you in the night, ambushed you. You and your survivor's instinct of 60 years, however, has allowed you to push on and survive the many others in your company who have died. Carrying but a single hamper, backpack, and a bedroll, you come out of the reeds and you find a fireside. A fireside that is mixed of race and class. A single small emblem can be seen on some of their shoulders. It's a crow holding a dagger in green background. You're old enough to have lived, and you're old enough to judge. And you can tell that in spite of the hardship these people have faced, there are some friendly faces there. So you join the fireside. It's been a week. You've been on the run. You've been dogged by orc raiders who have been pursuing you. You've avoided major settlements, because you know that's where they'll be going, where other survivors will probably try and go as well. You can't go west to Maribar. You can't go west to Maribar, because that's where the orc army is going. Erin tells you, through the pain, for she has received several deep wounds that are beyond your capacity to heal, that the original order was that we would win. It's not supposed to be like this. But basic military protocol is to get to the next city. We must rendezvous at Neverwinter. Doran Thunder knows a way through the mountains. If we go through the mountains, through the Neverwinter forest, we can find a connecting river. We can go follow the river to it, and then walk 2 days through the forest and then find the other river. That will take us straight to Neverwinter.
Can I talk to him about something?
This conversation is happening.
Because the idea of going to Neverwinter is good, but my problem is that the humans don't seem to recognize the real threat of the orcs. And I want to have a word with this guy, because he seems to get it.
Well, you're having this conversation when you see a figure approach your fire. The group is of about 15. Along with a band of maybe 5 other soldiers. Aaron, Blackmane, Doran Thundar. Doran. You see these people. So we're going to go around and give a physical description of the people we haven't heard of from yet. Cash?
Oh, Spear is probably in her late teens, and she's blonde with like a kind of plait ponytail thing. She has grey eyes, she's fair-skinned, she's got she's kind of average build and height, and is quite muscular because she spent a lot of her time cutting wood. So,
Human?
thickish. Yes, human.
You're like Joan of Arc.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sitting
I'm a
very
lady
close to
paladin.
her and recovering from what would appear to be burn marks over maybe 60% of her body is this woman. We've already had a physical description of you, but apart from that description, there's the injuries and numerous cuts. I take it that Spear has been seeing to her?
Yes, I would have been.
So close. And then the halfling, as previously described, not talking very well at the moment, seems to have a severe neck injury he's recovering from. And then...
That doesn't stop me talking to you. In the head, the telepathy, it's awesome.
There's Saria.
So Saya is, the first thing is her hair is just jet, like onyx black.
Yes.
And she has this kind of ivory skin and these dark eyes set into this ivory skin. She's not particularly tall, but she's not like the shortest elf you've ever met. But she is quite slender and quite reasonably attractive. Yeah, she seems... That's probably it, right?
Super gothic.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's a little strange because she definitely, like, she has, like, wood elf features, but she doesn't, like, her coloration is not a little off wood elf.
Yes.
And then brooding on the edge of the campfire, slightly away from the rest of the group, with a 1,000-yard stare, and the person who you now realize has actually been watching you on your entire approach is this man, Augustus.
Gus is kind of tall, kind of scrawny, kind of shaggy hair, and one of those beards. It's not quite a beard, but it's trying anyway. He's not what you call an attractive guy, but he's got a bit of a charm about him. It's all right. Well, he used to have a bit of a charm about him. Now he's kind of just like a really disturbing little fellow, I guess. But he's in like really natural woven clothes and fabrics, and he's got that same stick that he hasn't let go of in a week. It's still just in his hand.
You're like actually going.
And leaves.
Yeah.
You're going through PTSD right now. Like you're having a bad time.
He's not having a good time. If there is any booze in the vicinity of Gus, there is now no longer any booze.
Can I try an insight check to notice his frail state?
Absolutely. But
18 on the dice, insight +4. I've got an idea that he's not right. He's having a bad time with what's happened.
and you don't think that this is the only circumstance that has led to this particular state of mind that he's experiencing right now. The silence is a casual conversation at the campfire is, however, broken, and obviously you're in the middle of a conversation with Doran as well, is as you hear a gentle, unassuming voice issue from the darkness, and it says,
I hope I'm not intruding. I mean no harm. Perhaps we could share resources, help one another along the way.
and you all turn and see a
Woman, a little bit on the short side, seems to be getting on in her years. Hair is dark grey, beginning to be streaked with white, tanned, vaguely leathered skin. Looks like she's spent a lot of time in the sun, and her posture is ramrod straight. Leathers seem to be a little bit on the large side, as if when she originally had them, was a little bit taller and a little bit broader, but seems to be rather frail at this point in time.
as well as the general pack and bits and pieces that she carries. You also see an instrument hanging from her kit. What instrument is it?
It is a lute. The strings do not look particularly worn.
It's more for show.
I find that people let me into the taverns more quickly when I carry it, whether or not I use it.
Oh, I'm a bard. Where's your loot? Okay, you go.
How do you greet the stranger?
I rush to my feet and prepare a bowl of food from the fire that I've been working on. Just walk it over.
Food is scarce, but yes, there are still supplies.
Welcome. Do you have any wounds? Are you alright?
The travel has been long, but I'm doing well. Thank you for
Watery
asking.
gruel, but at least it's warm.
Thank you. Can I help you with that at all?
It's just an arrow.
He'll be fine.
There's plenty others need more healing than I do.
Where have you come from?
What is the name of my town?
Well, the original town that was sacked, let's call it Felden.
I hail from Felden, or what once was Felden. Alas, it is no more.
Everyone can make a history roll to figure out where that is.
No.
DC 13.
Yep.
Yeah, that was where the news of the first raids came from. All of the villages to the north, including Felden, which was actually, nobody had heard of that town until, along with 3 other towns, they were sacked in a night and disappeared from the face of the earth.
Heavy. Alright, I'm sorry that happened.
Thank you.
Have you seen much on your way here? We're running low on rations. Are there other camps like ours around?
Not that I've seen. I passed near. Sorry, what's the name of the big town again?
Maribor.
I passed near Maribor, and people there were being warned to flee. I would imagine that there will be more coming along this way at some point. And the traveling conditions are harsh, though, and I don't know how many will make it.
It's an interesting point. We need to find somewhere safe to think about what we're doing at that next move before the weather changes.
Aaron, you still, which is an interesting point, because that night, that very night that you all sleep together, you are woken in the morning to a chill of the first snowfall of a winter that has come a full 1 month early. And none of you were equipped for this. Doran says, I think we should still push into the mountains. I think we should push into the forest. At least there will be game. And the warmth of the trees will keep us better. If I know orcs, especially mountain orcs, they'll be less comfortable in forested terrain. I don't know about the rest of you, but I grew up in the woods.
Yeah, I grew up in the woods. You'll be right.
I love walking in the forest.
It will be safer and travel faster on the rivers. Aaron's like, well, I might be the ranking officer, but as far as I'm concerned, we're all equal here. What, will you come with us to Neverwinter?
Good a place to die than anywhere else, I guess.
Well, I sure hope that we can plan a better retaliation than that. I think the orcs will have a harder job taking a larger city. They may not even take Maribar. The idea of taking Neverwinter, I think that's an impossibility. There will be safe. There will be warm, she says.
Durin, Aaron, I spent some time with the orcs. Not a lot of know that, but I was with them for a while. And the assumptions that orcs can't do things is part of the problem here. And we've got an opportunity to take a message to Neverwinter that this is like, well, I don't know, maybe we can actually just show them that the orcs are like a credible threat. Because right now, this Lord Commander's army debacle is just going to keep happening if you keep underestimating your enemies, right?
Well, I think that it's all the more important that we should get back to Neverwinter so that that story is heard.
Yeah.
So you push on. But day by day, supplies run low. Day by day, things run out. You are able to generate good berries. How many can you generate in a day?
10?
20.
20. But it would not literally have occurred to him yet.
Oh. Well,
He is like literally, he's just like being pulled along by the
So,
party at this
Would
point.
it occur to him when we start to starve?
I
Well,
don't
He
know.
doesn't think ahead. He's not like, maybe we'll need extra
I-
food.
I
But when we
think-
start starving, he'll be like, oh, have a berry.
I think you should get a dice roll every time a person starts.
It's one of these things
that's
that
fine. I'm happy to be making these rolls. So let's just roll a d20 when the first person dies of starvation.
look, if it's a wisdom check,
What did you roll?
it's a 14 on the dice.
That's pretty good.
That's all.
Maybe I'm coming around a little quicker than I thought.
Well, you think about it. So then, the second person the next day is dying of starvation.
Like a little stick that's slowly becoming a branch stick. I'll just be like, I'm an asshole. So here's a trick I picked up very recently. Let's say in the past 24 hours. This should cover you guys, I guess. It's they're little mushrooms, not actual berries. Little mushrooms growing up.
Mushrooms.
We've been here, freezing our asses off, starving to death, and you showing us now that you can fed us? Oh my god, for all we know, we could have been having fires this whole time.
They don't.
Oh my god, I'm an asshole!
Really? Fires are good, but huddling around the fire, the large amount of people huddling around the fire,
I can only do one.
yeah, keeping it burning all night is the other thing. So you're able to feed the people. That helps. It doesn't taste very good, but they don't really care. The amount of people that you can feed on your, how many berries can you make a day?
20.
20 berries a day. Well, that means 15 people, 14, 13 people have died recently. And then as the cold sets in, more people die from exposure in the nights. So your 20 berries a day is providing 2 meals for everyone, which is fine. And you keep pushing on. Eventually, you start to hear the howls of a wolf pack at night. It appears your number has grown low enough and apparently weak enough that it's drawn the attention of wolves.
I'm gonna cast Speak to Animals. And just be like, Guys! Guys!
As soon as you cast while they're howling, you do this. The howls that they're saying, yeah, they're hungry.
Guys, I've got enough food to go around, is all I'm saying.
Among the howls, you hear one other howl that is deep, ravenous in nature.
That's natural 20.
It's the howl of something that does not fear or compromise or makes friends. It's a howl of pride, stubbornness, refusing to go against its nature in the depth of this early winter. And that creature is a dire wolf. And it is not alone. It has a pack of regular wolves with it as well. And is emboldening them to come. You make your way, and after another few days...
Hang on, are you passing on that we're being tracked by a dire wolf and his minion pack?
Yeah, let people know. Oh, guys, it's this is, as I said before, it's a good place to die around.
And at this point, in the next morning, he says, well, Doran stands up. For all the gloom and doom around here, things are finally starting to look up. He kicks the snow off an old rock, and you see a waystone with an arrow and a marking on it.
Yes.
And it says,
I think it's gonna be okay.
Ellsdale. I told you I'd been through here before. It's a couple of days away from here, but we're not far now. The harvest was fat this year, and if we've got any luck in us, then they'll have plenty of food.
Yeah.
It's not a path the army's taken, so we might be alright. Aaron looks at him and goes, depends how many men they sent to the war, I guess. Or women. If they all died, well, we'll have a lot of angry parents barking down our necks, but I guess that's better than starving out here and being eaten by them, she gestures to the wolves. And the rest of you? It's basically on the way. The winter's setting in as fast as it is. I don't think we'll make it through the forest.
I have no plans of being digested.
That's good to hear.
We're all on
Alright,
board for that.
she winces as she moves back onto her crutch. Slowly oozing.
So are you with us, Bart?
Oh, it sounds definitely like a better plan than dying.
Surprisingly, the only person equipped for the weather is Lynn. She seems to have packed all of her belongings in her swag, including her cold weather gear.
Trust me, when you get to live up this far north, it's cold half the year anyway. These are my normal clothes.
And you push on, and the day goes on. You continue. And it's getting harder and harder. You guys are all suffering 3 levels of fatigue at this point. Mostly from the cold. You're eating? Fine.
I'm going to start using my prestidigitation, which can warm up to 1 foot of non-living material to heat my shirt and pants.
Cool.
I will.
And how long have you been doing this for?
It's a
I know.
cantrip. You can just
Past
keep
few
doing
weeks.
it.
Then
last
you were
night-
only suffering 1 level of fatigue.
When the moment it started getting cold, I was just like,
I notice him with his bright idea. He looks a little bit warm, and I'm like, I think I know that spell. I'll do that too.
You're also only suffering 1 level of fatigue.
Due to what?
No, you're
Prestidigitation,
actually,
the
because
one I
of
can't spell.
Prestidigitation.
So, Jude or Nariko, because you have, you're still suffering from 3 levels of fatigue because you're still recovering from
From
your
the
injuries. You
burns.
have never, that was something that perhaps one day you will learn to master, but at this point, it was just a survival mechanism and it burned you badly. Anyone else have any tricks they want to throw at me?
No, I'm very cold and tired. Yeah,
Okay.
very much so.
And it gets into the evening. The
I can
sun
lay
is
on
going
hands
down,
every day, though.
and by Doran's
I can heal
estimate,
1 hit point
you're still another
every day.
12 hours away from this village. The wolf pack is getting closer and closer. You're at the point now where you start to see shadows moving through the snow-covered trees.
Well, we're not. The group's now not really moving forwards anymore, right? Because of the fatigue.
No, you're moving. You
Just
still
slowly.
just slowly.
what does 3 levels of
perception check?
fatigue?
Well, here's what it says. We've got disadvantage on ability checks, disadvantage on attack rolls, disadvantage on saving throws, and our speed is halved.
So we're not moving.
It's
very
pretty
fast.
brutal.
The next level is hit point maximum halved, then speed reduced to 0.
Oh, well,
One
hopefully
thing.
it doesn't make the next
What's 1?
Disadvantage on ability checks.
And
Perception check?
yep, so you're trying to locate them specifically. At the
Yes.
moment, you're all definitely just catching movement through the trees, but you're not sure if it's the fatigue just playing on the edges of your vision.
Disadvantage.
Maybe. 17, 11 plus 6, 17. On perception.
Disadvantage?
Yes. From 17 and 11.
Yes, you start to spot them. They're now within. If they ran at you, they would be with you in a few rounds.
I will cast Speak to Animals and see if I can hear them coordinate.
You, yes, they are now speaking a tongue that you do not understand. They're not speaking their native tongue anymore.
Assholes.
Give me a religion roll.
That's a natural 1. Nature is my religion. None of this wibbly wobbly timey wimey business that some people follow.
You start to realize that you're not going to be able to outpace them, and you're going to have to do something in this pass.
Well, I've got good news and I've got bad news.
Mm-hmm.
The bad news is we're not getting away from it. The good news is I've still got more mushrooms.
Alright, well,
I do like mushrooms. I prefer the berries.
shall we make, if we're not going to outpace them, what do you suggest?
You could season yourself.
We've got two
How many of us
options.
are left?
We can let them harry us until we are too weak to defend ourselves, or we could turn around now and attack them en masse. And if we can drop one of them and they're attacking us because they're just hungry, that'll buy them off. And otherwise, if we knew what their motives were, then maybe we've got to fight them all.
Well, the other weird thing is they're not speaking in animal.
Wolf.
Wolf.
So they're
Not-
speaking a language that's not.
Natural. Like it's not a beast tongue.
Can I cast comprehend languages and try and figure out what they're saying? Can I even hear what they're saying?
No, because you're listening to a series of grunts and moans, so I guess so. Yeah, you can try.
Yes, then I cast.
So you cast the spell. Comprehend languages.
Yes.
Right, and now make a wisdom perception.
Disadvantage.
Of course.
You're a halfling, you can re-roll that.
Sure, it's the stuff of nightmares crawling in. It's something so distant, so not familiar, alien almost.
So we got evil wolf.
And they're circling in, and they're coming closer.
Alright, that's it. I'm actually freaked out. I'm going, fuck this! And I'm having a fit, and I throw my shit on the ground, and I fling my bowl, and I go, they're coming for us! Like, gear up!
Alright, we can do
Okay.
a defensive thing.
Yeah, we need to do
And you
something about
all
this.
form a defensive
We
circle.
fought that. We did alright.
Yeah, we did
Aaron's
okay
looking
last time.
pretty injured.
Yeah, Aaron thought Doran as well has like been passing, like just struggling to keep consciousness.
Yeah.
Like, Aaron's on a crutch and she's trying to keep Doran away.
I'm gonna try. Can I try helping them? Like,
There's 10 of you total. So apart from the 6 of you, Doran, Aaron, there's 2 other soldiers.
can I?
And 2 mules.
Oh, we have mules.
Yay.
Defensive circle around the mules.
Could we have eaten
Well, we have.
What's wrong with the mushrooms?
But we decided to let someone start rather than eating the mules.
I
them?
grab.
Dead or fix- Oh well.
Can I call over one of the other soldiers and try to help Aaron into a tree?
They're close.
No.
Okay, so there's no
You-
time.
You
All
are
right, great.
surrounded,
We pretty much
Then-
they're coming
have to
for
take
you.
action in
They're
this.
circling.
Defensive positions.
defensive
They're
position.
moving in,
for-
the shadows
I
are
do-
working.
All right.
The
Don't worry about
shadows
that.
of the wolves are moving. The
Who has
sound
ranges,
that you
guys?
heard,
Range
the
attacks?
sound that you supposed was a direwolf, sounded perfectly like a direwolf, but you don't see a direwolf in the background. You just see a large shadow stalking the woods, and 6 other scraggly, desperate wolves coming from the trees, coming for you. Draw your weapons.
60 foot?
You ready your defense. I'll see you next week, guys.
Ah.
Thanks for playing the first game. That was our prologue, not really a first game. We're going to be launching into the first game next week, and we're super excited to be seeing what's going on. Thanks for playing. It was really great. I had fun. You guys
Thanks,
did.
Abby.
Thanks, Abby.
Thanks, Abby.
Welcome to Tabletop Dynasties.